Assalamu alaikum Taito Bacho. Raat pura is the last sleep. Agdut moment about writer with introduction. Writers mutalik unne story with mutami introduction. As per a story. Story she two young girls who are friends and sharing the same flat. So let us go through the story and I will explain you. I will paraphrase certain lines too. Shu and Chauncey, two young artists, shared a small flat. The flat was one on the third story of an old house. Sue and Chauncey are two young artist girls. They may be known certain sector of art. Art has certain sectors. They may be known certain sector, so we may say they were friends, they were roommates. They shared a small flat. A small flat. Flat means an accommodation for a family or for certain individuals in a big building. There are many flats in a building. One small flat was of Sue and Chauncey, who were artists. And the flat was on third story, ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor. Third floor means 3 power. Agar is question point was 3 power. We should say go bro. There are two things, story and story. STOREY. For example, if we will go through homophones, tayo paga STORY and this. You will be asked to write sentences on story and story. The words which are pronounced in the same way, which are spoken in the same way, but the spelling differs, are called homophones. For example, you have two words here. Story. First, when you have to use these words into sentences, you must know the meaning of these words. This story means tale. TALE. This story means floor. First floor, second floor, third floor. 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 I live on the fourth floor. So we may write Grandma told me story about a king. Grandma told me story about a king. And in this story you may write my uncle lives in third story of this building. My uncle lives. These are called homophones in English. They are spoken in the same manner, but their meaning differs. Now, let me tell you who was in the flat. Two young artisan girls, Sue and Chauncey. They lived in a small flat in the third story of the old house. John C. fell very seriously ill in November. Unfortunately, she had pneumonia. Unfortunately, John C. fell seriously ill because of pneumonia. Just like we are these days we see that people get pneumonia due to COVID and they need oxygen. That's pneumonia means it affects your lungs. It's very difficult to breathe when one suffers from pneumonia. It is a medical disorder. She would lie in her bed without moving, just gazing out of the window. Now, she was so seriously ill, she got pneumonia. Now she was bedridden. And always used to gaze to window. This means this was a sign of depression. When someone is in deep thoughts, or we may say someone speaks to himself in isolation, or gives certain actions by his certain actions and gestures, we must realize that the person is suffering from one kind of anxiety or another. Sue, her friend, became very worried. What do we mean by this? Sue, her friend, became very worried. What? I will ask you. Now, who was ill? You should grasp that. It was John C. who was ill, who was sick. Sue was her friend. She sent for the doctor. Although he came every day, there was no change in John C.'s condition. She sent the doctor, even though medical treatment was started, but John C.'s health did not show any signs of improvement. Tim huknu kya wana one mobile kashir put otta mish pata pacha bajwana sar kashir put wana cha eket yotta one mobile kashir put gobro menu zakorias emas artist go kalakar asem kalakar go kashir put chahe em painting asana kara chahe em atkum asana kara चाहे हम टॉप काम आसना करा चाहे बेकात काम मतलब यस के आर्ट आस चाहे तम इंटीरियर डिजाइनिंग आसना करा इंटीरियर डिजाइनर इज एन आर्टिस्ट तथरा फिर चाहे हम नक्शा आसना बनाओ अच्छी होइत कि व्हाट टाइप ऑफ आर्टिस्ट इज देयर वेयर इवन इंजीनियर इज एन आर्टिस्ट तथरा फिर एमन ओस अख लॉकट फ्लैट अख यत मज इकवटा आस ये फ्लैट उस 3 पोरस कसमस पोरस पे अख दोहा गो नवंबर किस रेतस मज युस ये झांसी ये गई बीमार अमिस गो न्यूमोनिया तो ये गई बेड रिडन माज ये गई ये रोज बिस्तर से माज अम सज युस रूममेट या अस वनो फ्रेंड ये गई जबरदस्त परेशान अम चीज सत मीन ये फ्रेंड क्या गई बेड रिडन डॉक्टर ते ओन मगर अम सिंदिस सेहतस मज गई न मतलब इम्प्रूवमेंट कहीं ये गई न ठीक कहें तो अम सज कंडीशन लज वर्स गने मगर ठीक गई कि अत गो वनो दोद इंसानस मारा इंसानस पन दिमाग मारा अगर इंसानस यह हिम्मत आसे कि बस लड़ा दब आई विल रिकवर इवन इंसान कैन गेट रिड ऑफ कैंसर विल पावर सारो मज आई विल लिव a happy and prosperous life. Why should I care? Let me be okay. अगर मैं ज़ोर है भाई मोद सा बस सुमार वो तो समझ का ये सबक शुता ही मन लाइन मज़ में आला. One day the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, "Is anything worrying John C?" "No," replied Sue. "But why do you ask?" See, येत गो तुम जो चीज कंसेप्ट गो क्लियर मेनू गो शॉर्ट स्टोरी फंक्शन मेन मुदा कि तुम गो चीज गन क्लियर तुम पत राइट ए स्पीच या डिवाइस ए स्पीच ये अगर तुम वो ये अकिस में स्पीच. One day the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, this is dialogue, inverted commas अथ मे dialogue, is anything worrying John C? क्या वापस दिवान. "No," replied Sue, "but why do you ask? Why do you ask?" What is you got dialogue delivery, the spoken words. Artists one narrations, the direct speech, indirect speech. One day the doctor took Sue aside and asked her, "Is anything worrying John C?" The doctor, who was giving medication to John C., who was not recovering, thought that John C. may be psychologically thinking of some radical changes in her life, or she may be thinking something negative. That's why he told her friend, doctor told her friend, "Is John C. worried about something?" Her friend didn't know, so she replied, "No, nothing." "But why are you asking such a question?" So doctor has a degree and he knows where the shoe, he diagnoses the disease. Doctor diagnoses the disease. Ithai put doctor yes ekis sides dopnas so want me yemis mash ke pareshani John C.'s mash ke pareshani dopnas na et put bazahir chhan pareshani ka mar tsikya chuk me yim sawal prisan. The doctor said, "John C., it seems, has made up her mind that she is not going to get well. If she doesn't want to leave, medicines will not help her." Now, this is the crux. This is the crux of the story. This is the theme you should get. As one Ishnaman Gur Trish Chana and the Yaspet, Martash Panachin Trish, as Mahakon Trish, as I put the much doctor Dava, Mar Bemar Tata Beer car, and Titput Parhes car, and Titput Pon mental setup, Banam, Subway yet how, Taki Sugash tea. Doctor Shona John says, "Message Basayim Panun Demag, Tayar, Thomat Bugas no Tiki, I am sick, I am going to die." अगर से एमस दिमागस में यह रोज यम ते एंटीबॉडीज द दवा एक्टिवेट कर है तम गसन एक्टिवेट केन तो इसलिए हसे है कि merit she doesn't want to live, medicines will not help. If someone's agar brain failed guys, agar depression go banasa gas na ठीक कहाँ ते दवा है कि ठीक करित कि it's actually willpower. Here the writer wants that students, the learners should know what is the importance of willpower. तैतरा फिक्री हम छीन के लेंगे, तैतरा फिक्री हम हक से लेंगे, और आता है समझ. This is the willpower. We have to keep this willpower in mind. Sue tried her best to make John C. take an interest in things around. Now Sue tried everything in her kitty to bring smile back on the face of John C. She talked about clothes and passion, but John C. didn't respond. She was telling her about passion, about clothes, about gossips, everything what she had, she tried, and so that John C. could become normal. John C. continued to lie still on her bed. Sue brought her drawing board into John C.'s room and started painting. To take John C.'s mind off her illness, she whistled while working. Now she brought her canvas into the room and started painting. Now you will get answer what type of artists the two were. They were painters. To take John C.'s mind off her illness, she whistled. Well, she always whistled during painting, during doing her work. She whistled in order to attract the attention of John C. towards her, so that she is not thinking something negative. She tried, because as a friend everyone tries that his friend should be in good health and everything good should be given to her friend. John C. and bichar ye panuni painters bananuk so put broken as sweet put bruise lock chars lock blackboard so put kin easel asa they put easel on that put phone panuni canvas when I put banawa painting the Luch emis pe pata se mas city te vai tak hemis ges emis kun attraction kes fashion is to palvan huzos emis tasli gamus ta tra fikri taki ho ges hems dimag ges divert az go menu go yuti in